1, 2, test. Hello, everybody. How are you? Are we? Turn that down a little. We good? Hope you're well. Hope you had a good weekend. I had a great weekend. We had a gig up in Belfast in the Deer's Head. Afternoon gig for the Cathedral Quarter Arts Festival, and it was class. We had a great time. More afternoon gigs, please. That would be fantastic. Then we got to go and hang out, me and Chris and Shelley and Jeannie. And Summer came with us, my daughter, she was there as well. My other daughter, Lily, she was working at the Bruce Springsteen gig in Kilkenny. She works for an event company, doing security and things like that. So we never got to enjoy her lovely smile, but we did get to hang out with Summer, and it was fantastic. And of course, we got to play music for all of yous, which is the point, and it was great. We had a lovely day, and some of yous brought your kids. We got to see young Darcy, Reverend Duff's young lady, and a few other people. There was a couple turned up in the Armagh top and things like that, and managed to sort them all out with a t-shirt with memento, hopefully. And some of them, it was their first rock gig, first big gig, so they kind of they'll remember that forever, because you do. That's good. It's important. The less said about Armagh, though, the better. They did get beat yesterday by Donegal, but by God, what a match. Couldn't be separated. Had to go down to penalties, and it even went into like the 6th or the 7th penalty before they could be separated. It just went toe to toe, point for point for point. And what scores! My God, the accuracy from both teams, it has to be said, was unreal. But alas, Armagh didn't win and Donegal did. Fair play to them. They did what they had to do, and we didn't, and that's the end of that. So fuck this shit. So let's do it. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to Politics, Culture, and Some Other Shit. With me, your host, Andy McGibbon. Andy that's in the Bonneville's and all that. Join me over on YouTube if you want to watch the video. You can get the audio from all the usual places. And if you want to, which would be nice, you can go and sign up for my Patreon. There's only one tier. It's £1 a month. And for that, you will get all these without ads, basically, is all it is. So it's just helps me keep the lights on here at Super 8 Ecotronic. And every now and again I buy a wee microphone or something with that money when it all sort of piles in. And thank you so much to the new patrons. I had a few more this week again, and you're awesome. I'm delighted, really, really happy. It's going, as I said, it's only £1 a month. It's not a lot, but you get, what do you get for that? 2 podcasts a week. Usually, since I've been back at it, I've been managing to keep it up at 2 a week. And as I said, you get them ad-free, so you don't have to listen to people trying to sell you fucking things that you didn't even know existed. So thanks for that. Join me over on Twitter, Instagram, all that shit, all over the place. Absolutely pain in the hole, but I do it anyway for you. So there we go. And and if you don't want to sign up to the podcast, you can go to a thing called Buy Me a Coffee, and you can just throw a couple of quid into the hat. It's a one-time thing. They take, credit. They got Stripe, do credit cards and all that stuff. So you can do that if you want. Why wouldn't you? It's class. So let me share this with you before we push on. This is a bar of chocolate I have in front of me. Those of you, again, who are listening to this, you can go and watch a video of this on either Patreon or YouTube. I'll probably just snippet this out, actually. Might just go to the effort of making this a wee snippet and stick it up on the socials. This is a gift for Gaza chocolate. This was made in Kildare, and it's absolutely delicious. I bought 12 bars of it a few weeks ago, intending to give them away as gifts to loved ones, and I ended up eating them all. It is really, really nice chocolate. It's So it's a bar of chocolate, slab of chocolate, normal chocolate bar size. So like like you get a big bar of chocolate that if you go to the cinema or something, it's that size. It's delicious. It's gift for Gaza. All the money goes to the GRT. Well, except for the production costs. So this is the Global Relief Trust, grtuk.org. All the money after the costs, which is basically it costs 80p, and then there's VAT to be paid, 20p. So it works out basically £1 goes to the GRT to the GRT, and £1 goes to the manufacturing and taxes. So it's which is pretty good, isn't it? So, well, if you sell them for £2, I'm not selling them for £2 because it's not enough. So I'm selling them in person for £2.50. So what I want is your paper money, no coins, nothing that rattles. Want stuff that folds. £2.50 in person or £3 online. We're going to have these on the Bonneville's website, the bonneville's.co.uk. You'll be able to buy these. And don't forget, at the Bonneville's website, £5 shipping across the world for everything we have on there. We have a standard flat shipping rate, and it works out. Some places aren't as expensive as others, and it works out for us. So we do that. So go on there if you're from foreign lands. Go there, buy half a dozen of these, and you'll pay a £5 shipping, and we'll get that shipped to you as soon as possible. As if we're allowed to. Actually, I must check. We're allowed to send chocolate. We've done it. I've done it. I've sent stuff to America and stuff like that in the past. So we can do that, yeah. So please go and do that. I have a box of these, 68, I think, in the box. We'll get them all sold, and we'll get the money. The Global Relief Trust is the only charity that's actually getting aid into Gaza. That's why this is important. Lots of other charities doing great work, but the stuff isn't getting into them. So this is one that is managing to do that. I think they're actually based in Gaza, so that's why they're able to do that. They do stuff like build bakeries. And see if anybody comes out and money for fucking terrorists, or here's money for her. Tell them to get fucked. Tell them from me, I said, go get fucked. That's what you say to that bullshit. So, if they say you sent money to terrorists, say, no, we're not giving it to Israel. We're giving it to the Palestinians. And go get fucked. Don't forget that to add that. Speaking of which, I've got a new regular section. I'm going to be doing it. It's called, you guessed it, Get Fucked. It's true. So I'm going to read this section out. A little thing here. I want to copy this over. Just let me do this. Copy, big face, paste. Where is it? Oh, there we go. Bum, bum, bum. Don't know what happened there. But anyway, so I've got a section called Get Fucked. I'm going to be doing it regularly, starting it today. I don't know whether to call it Get Fucked or You Go and Get Fucked Now. I think You Go and Get Fucked Now. You can get fucked now. That's a good one. But anyway, for now, we're going to call it Get Fucked. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about something. I'm calling this section The Infantilization Is Complete. And I'm going to link a few things. Eurovision, a thing called a Correspondents Dinner, a thing that happened at the weekend called the Met Gala, or last week, the Met Gala, which is like the Hunger Games come to life, and something that happened between the Vice President. You got to remember now, the Vice President is the second line to the fucking throne. If Sleepy Genocide Joe fucking slips off this mortal coil, Kamala Harris, the literal half-wit, is going to be in charge. And I'll be sort of trying to link all those up for you. A section called The Infantilization Is Complete. Lots of video, a couple of articles to read all about that. And then what we're going to do is start with this. Yesterday was the anniversary of one of the greatest men, the anniversary of his death, of one of the greatest men that ever lived, James Connolys. 1916, 100 and is it 108 years ago now? The English tied him his broken and wounded body to a chair and executed him for his part in the Easter Rising and the signing of the Declaration of Independence, the Proclamation of Independence. As he was one of the greatest thinkers that's ever. He was born in Scotland, but of Irish descent, and he had a great love of Ireland. And he's one of the greatest thinkers that ever came through on or of this land. A great advocate for working class values, needs, desires, wants, necessities. And thank God he was a prolific writer as well, so he wrote a lot. So we have the man's words directly from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I'm going to read you this little quote of his. And it's one that gets quoted quite a lot, and it's rather beautiful. And it succinctly encapsulates the truth of it, as true as it was back in his day, is equally true today. And these great quotes, they do resonate through the ages whenever they're so, whenever they come from a brain and a man like James Connolys. So here it is. If you remove the English army and hoist the green flag over Dublin Castle, unless you set about the organisation of the Socialist Republic, your efforts will be in vain. England will still rule you. She would rule you through her capitalists, through her landlords, through her financiers, through the whole array of commercial and individualist institutions she has planted in this country and watered with the tears of our mothers and the blood of our martyrs. And you don't have to be a big old commie like me to understand what that means. It's quite clear. Oh, again, on the video, I'm wearing my James Connolly t-shirt. My dear friend Lisa McGee bought me that for my birthday one year. And it's a little James Connolly icon on my t-shirt. So happy to wear that today. And then there's rather beautiful. Our demands are most modest, as is on the mural. It's in Belfast. That's the picture I have on the screen. Our demands are most moderate. Our demands most moderate are: we only want the earth. He was no liberal. He wasn't taking any shit from anybody. A rather muscular socialism, and I am in favour of that. And then one more from Songs of Freedom, the James Connolly songbook. No revolutionary movement is complete without its poetical expression. Beautiful. That's where people like me come in, or need to. I do take some little snippets from people, not exclusively Connolly, but from people like him, and drop them into songs unbeknownst to you. I don't tell you. And I like to think that out there singing, some sort of right-wingy people singing some Bonneville songs, and there's a wee thing in there that they don't know. It makes me laugh. My own solo stuff is much more overt about these things and obvious, but with the Bonneville stuff, I don't like to rub people's noses in it. I am, believe it or not, I am a nice person. And no, I am. No, really. So, let's do it. Let's get to the first article, the first segment. So this is a bit, as I said already, going to call it The Infantilisation Is Complete. And I'm going to link these things. Eurovision, the Met Gala, the Correspondents Dinner. I'll explain what these all are. And a video that was that's doing the rounds. It was from a few weeks ago. I'll play that first. And it's the actress Drew Barrymore, right? You know who she is. Now, she's done a couple of things recently. And one of the things that she did that brought her to the attention of leftists like me, leftist socialists, I don't like that word, leftists. It's a very awkward word. I'm a socialist. And one of the things that she did recently was whenever the Hollywood writers were on strike, she sort of tried to, she basically scabbed that. She tried to get around that because she now has a TV show, the Drew Barrymore show, one of these sofa things. You know, people sit on sofas and talk fucking horse shit for the better part. So, well, that's fine. Whatever, you know. The world is a big and beautiful place, and let 1,000 flowers bloom. So, but she tried to get round the writers' strike. I don't know how. I can't remember exactly how she did it. She either employed some writers independently that weren't in the union, or she just didn't have any, which was what some production houses and some creators tried to do, but it didn't work. And then she sort of had to backtrack, and she apologised and she said, I didn't realise what I was doing. Yes, you fucking did. But this video I'm going to show you, this is literally insane. Now, I'll have to explain this to you. Her guest is a woman called Kamala Harris. She is the I've explained, the Vice President of the United States, second in line to the throne. Sleepy Joe shuffles off this mortal coil. This fucking idiot is going to be in charge. Although, I will say, the Brits did elect Liz Truss, didn't they? Oh, I do have a Liz Truss video for you. I didn't load it. I'll find it and load it in when one of these other things are playing. But I don't know who in the competition of who is the most idiotic or who is dumbest. Would it be Kamala Harris or Liz Truss? I'm going to go with the people that vote for them. That's who's the most dumbest. So this is a segment from one of these, I don't know what television channel it is. It's one of these morning TV things, and they're discussing it because it is fucking ridiculous. So now you have to remember her name is Kamala, right? So there's a play on that word, that name in the video. Check it out.
That's what we're aiming for.
Welcome back to BT. Meredith and Sid here with you. So this clip we're about to run for you, it went viral very quickly over the last 24 to 48 hours. Drew Barrymore hosts a talk show. She's been in the headlines for good reasons, maybe for some not so good reasons around the strike and whatnot. And her thing lately is the interviews are getting very intimate. Fair to say? Personal.
Yeah, she likes to get close to her interviewees.
Yes.
Sometimes she likes to touch them, hold their hands,
Yes.
a.k.a. Oprah. Yeah.
So she was interviewing American Vice President Kamala Harris the other day, and this happened.
We all need a mom. I've been thinking that we really all need a tremendous hug in the world right now.
Yeah.
But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Are you fucking kidding? This happened. Mamala. They're calling this fucking dickhead Mamala. And this is really, can you hear her shaking in her voice? Check it out again. We hear, we need you to be Mamala. We all need a hug. The people are blowing the things up, and I happen to see it, and I don't like to see it. I need a hug, Mamala.
But in our country, we need you to be Mamala of the country.
Oh, know, Drew
I'm
might have
so
lost.
glad American commentators are laughing at that, and giving it the complete lack of fucking respect that it deserves, because that is insane. That is ridiculous. This woman is the vice president of the most powerful country in the world. And they're treating her and talking to her and about her as if she is a host on a children's TV program. It is mental.
I'm like president of Drew Barrymore fan club, but that I mean, Kamala's face, if I can even call her that so casually.
Sorry. Is she not Mamala now?
Well, I guess
based on
she's
that interview?
Mamala. Sorry, yeah.
So what was that? What does that mean?
Well, I literally saw that, like probably a lot of us did yesterday on socials, and was quite taken aback and thought, oh, okay, well, this is now, we've gone too far. We're a little too close to the VP. We're calling her mom a lot, like what's going on? But the context of it is that there was a conversation before the clip. Things get clipped and things get pushed around. And they were talking about co-parenting, and they were talking about blended families. And Kamala has stepchildren, and she doesn't like that word, stepkids, because of sort of the movie rhetoric that goes along with that. And so they don't call her stepmom, they call her Mamala. That's what her stepchildren
So that is
call her.
actually a reference to
Yes.
a modern day thing that's being said in the family.
Right. And, you know, in my case, we are a blended family. I sort of refer to myself as a bonus mom.
Blended family?
And
What does that
my
mean?
nickname is Muffy, and the kids call me Muffy. So it's almost like that.
Yeah, but you're not the president, the vice president of America. This is the point. And so then this is the point of this whole section that I'm trying to sort of stitch together. This infantilization, politicians, and seemingly the more powerful the politicians, the less likelihood they are to actually be meaningfully challenged. The corporate media infrastructure and ecosystem and landscape has been so completely captured by the vested interests that there is no challenge to power. There is no challenge to power. It doesn't happen. That America can vote through a man that is clearly unwell, that should be just retired and looking after his kids, his grandkids, sorry, because he can't look after his fucking own kids. The United Kingdom has a prime minister that is so loathed and disrespected that it's a joke. And nobody voted for him to be prime minister. Much the same in Ireland, by the way. The new Taoiseach. No one know, you know. But this is the problem. I'm going to show you in a minute this thing from the Correspondents Dinner, and I want you to keep all these videos that I'm showing you in. They're all related to me. They're all related because, and obviously those of you listening, you can do the same. The audio is enough as well, but and where it isn't, I will explain. But the journalist class aren't challenging Mamala. But Mamala's going on the Drew Barrymore show to get her fucking feet tickled. That in and of itself should be an outrage. You're not a celebrity, you're a politician. And this is the difference. This is the problem. You're not a celebrity. You're a politician. Your job is serious as a heart attack. And we don't need the people of the world, and I'm talking specifically about this. This is obviously America, but across the Western world, the people in the West, this is, you don't get this in Russia and everywhere. You know, your politicians are to do a fucking job. This infantilization, it makes me sick. But we'll get back to finish watching this.
The clip is being taken out of context. And no, I don't think we should be calling her Mamala, but it's not something that Drew Barrymore just made up.
She is a heartbeat away from the presidency of the United States.
Exactly, yes.
I don't know if that, okay, so that's
Right.
the context
so that's the
of
context for the clip. But the clip alone, the distance between the two of them, I mean, she is a sitting, like she's a political figure. I do think there needs to be some boundary.
And listen, I understand, I now understand Mamala, but if not everyone gets the context on that, maybe you got to Kamala a little bit. 901, you're watching it.
Well, that was fair enough. Yeah, Kamala a bit, calm it fucking down. Absolutely. So there we go. So that's the first video I'm going to show you. The second one I'm going to show you is, I'm going to have to read you a little something first. Let me just find it here. So there's this thing in the US called the White House Correspondents Dinner. Now, why is my browser not showing up? Sorry, everybody. Yeah, there you are. Interesting. Sorry, trying to get this to come up on the screen. It's not working. No. Ah, there we go. Got it. So there we go. There's a thing called the White House Correspondents Dinner. It happens every year. It is a set date. I'll just have a little read of the Wikipedia article for you. Just real quick, just to get. I'm not going to read all this. It's a load of bollocks. The White House Correspondents Dinner is White House Correspondents Association is an organization of journalists who cover the White House and the President in the United States. It was founded in 1914 by journalists in response to an unfounded rumor that a United States presidential committee would select which journalists could attend press conferences of Woodrow Wilson. So the WHCA operates independently of the White House. So among the more notable issues handled by the WHCA are the credentializing process, access to the president, and physical conditions in the White House press briefing rooms. It is the most high-profile activity in the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner, which is traditionally attended by the president and covered by the news media. Except for Donald Trump, every president has attended at least one White House Correspondents' Dinner, beginning with Calvin Coolidge in 1924. So that's it. They don't need to read any more of that. That's grand. Now, the White House Correspondents is set up as it said from the article there, in order. It's almost like a little union. Whenever they thought that the White House was going to start cherry picking who they could, and then you can see how that's not good, because then you'll get friendly journalists, and then they'll pick friendly journalists, and we see this now. This is standard now. We know this. Rishi Sunak isn't going to go and give an interview to a hostile journalist. They just don't do it. People like, oh God, what's her name at the BBC? I can picture her face, but I can't remember her name. She's just a fucking Tory. Her husband's a Tory donor and all this sort of stuff, and we know all this. And that's, see, you'll get an interview, but it'll not be as tough as it should be. That's what they were trying to avoid. I would say that there's no point. They wasted their time, because they've rolled over and had their belly tickled through the system known as access journalism. What that means is, if you don't give a friendly interview, or just don't push back on certain things, or you can appear to be a bit tough, but you're not really, then you will get access to the people that you need access to. If you're going to go in like a tiger with its teeth bared to rip these people to shreds, you're not going to get access. You might get away with it once, but you'll never get another opportunity to do it because they know that you're an unfriendly. So that's what the White House Correspondents Association was set up to try and avoid, but they've literally became just that. So one of the things that happened a few years ago when it comes to this issue of the White House correspondents is what they used to do was get a comedian. What they started to do, I don't know when they started to do it, but it became like a roast. So you know that American tradition of a roast where they would get your friends and, you know, to really slag you off, like really go to town on you, and you've just to sit there and sort of fucking take it. It became like that of this, and it became like that of the sitting president, or the sitting government, the sitting the institutions of the government, the whole secretariat, and they would get roasted. They would get, and they would just have to sit and they'd smile and laugh, and they would just take it in good humor. And you know, American roasts, they do get really, really dark, and they can go to dark places, and they're really good. If you've never seen them, you should check a few out. They're definitely worth it. I remember seeing one, like, you know, back in the days with like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and all that. They're really, really funny. And I think they come from the tradition of, like, you know, like the Buffaloes and the Masons and all those sorts of clubs. I think it comes from that. But regardless, so there was a comedian called Michelle Wolf. I happen to be a big fan of her, actually. And she was the last comedian to do this. They stopped employing comedians to do this after her in 2018. And the reason is that she was too truthful. She spoke the truth. So I'll show you the video. It's a 20-minute video. I've got an edit here of 3 minutes of just, she does a stand-up routine and just rips everybody to pieces. Bear in mind, it's 2018. Donald Trump was the president, right? But what she did was, and this was where she crossed the line, she called them all out to their fucking, in their face, to their faces. She called them out. And I love this. It's a 20-minute thing. Go and watch it online. Go to YouTube and watch the whole thing. I urge you to do that. It's definitely be worth your time. But here's a 3-minute sort of supercut of it.
Good evening. Good evening. Here we are, the White House Correspondents Dinner. Like a porn star says when she's about to have sex with a Trump, let's get this over with. And I know, as much as some of you might want me to, it's 2018 and I'm a woman, so you cannot shut me up. Unless you have Michael Cohen wire me $130,000. Michael, you can find me on Venmo under my porn star name, Reince Priebus. Of course, Trump is in...
It's all good here. They're all giggling and laughing, and because she's taking digs at Trump. That $130,000 reference was the money that the Trump's in court for right now in New York for giving to the porn star thing. Remember that? That's what that was a reference to. And everybody's all giggling and laughing, and they're yucking it up and having a grand old time. This is great. Michelle Wolf. Oh, she's so fucking funny. They're not saying that in a couple of minutes. Check this out.
Here, if you haven't noticed, he's not here. And I know I would drag him here myself, but it turns out the President of the United States is the one you're not allowed to grab. We're gonna try a fun new thing, okay? I'm gonna say Trump is so broke, and you guys go, how broke is he? All right? Trump is so broke. How broke is he? He has to fly failed business class. A lot of people want Trump to be impeached. I do not. Because just when you think Trump is awful, you remember Mike Pence. Mike Pence is what happens when Anderson Cooper isn't gay. I did have a lot of jokes. I had a lot of jokes about cabinet members, but I had to scrap all of those because everyone has been fired. You guys are going through cabinet members quicker than Starbucks throws out black people. Democrats are harder to make fun of because you guys don't do anything. People think you might flip the House and Senate this November, but you guys always find a way to mess it up. You're somehow gonna lose by 12 points to a guy named Jeff Pedophile Nazi Doctor. We should definitely talk about the women in the Trump administration. There's Kellyanne Conway. Man, she has the perfect last name for what she does. Conway. And of course we have Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We are graced with Sarah's presence tonight. I have to say I'm a little starstruck. I love you as Aunt Lydia on The Handmaid's Tale. Mike Pence, if you haven't seen it, you would love it. Fox News is
What
here.
a fucking humorless cunt that was.
So you know what that means, ladies. Cover your drinks. Seriously. People want me to make fun of Sean Hannity tonight, but I cannot do that. This dinner's for journalists. I watch Morning Joe every morning. We now know that Mika and Joe are engaged. Congratulations, you guys. It's like when a Me Too works out. You guys are obsessed with Trump. Did you used to date him? Because you pretend like you hate him, but I think you love him. And if you're gonna profit off of Trump, you should at least give him some money because he doesn't have any. Trump is so broke, he grabs because he thinks there might be loose change in them. All right, like an immigrant who was brought here by his parents and didn't do anything wrong. I gotta get the out of here. Good night. Flint still doesn't have clean water.
Right. So, I know what you're thinking. It wasn't that bad. No, it wasn't. But they're so fucking prickly and sensitive. She got a TV show and then it got cancelled and all this sort of shit. They never got a comedian back. Go and watch the whole 20-minute thing. It's really, really good. She lays more into the news media. So that's the White House Correspondents. And she basically says to them, you act like you hate Trump. Because remember when he was president, it's just fucking everything was Trump. Everything was Trump. And then she calls them out. She says, I think you actually love him because he's good for business. And we know that he was good for business. We know that the viewing figures rose. They all went up. Whenever they're talking about, like, for example, when Bernie Sanders was running for president, when he was allegedly running for president, he was given a speech about, I'm going to run for president. And they literally, one of the news stations had, they ran a live shot of Trump's dais, his podium, where he was going to come out and make the speech for like 2 hours. Nothing, he didn't come out. Nothing was there. But instead of showing you the Bernie Sanders, they showed you the Trump dais, because even that would get more figures than anything else. So that's what she was doing. And since then, they've done away with her. Now, in...
Good evening.
Oh.
Good evening.
It's the browser on. Sorry, the video came on there. So there's the browser. So Michelle Wolf, this is from Politico. This is at Time. Stuns the White House Correspondents Dinner. Members of the Trump administration walked out of the White House Correspondents Dinner on Saturday night after comedian Michelle Wolf ripped into House staffers, including the press secretary, Sarah Huckabee Sanders. She was making the joke about it there. And in the absence of the president himself, Trump didn't go. So on and so forth. Now, they're making it out in the article here as though, let's see, here you go. Whilst the harshest barbs were reserved for the administration, and bear in mind, that was her job. That's what the title of this article is called. She did her job. It was a roast. That's what she's supposed to do. Whilst the harshest barbs were reserved for the administration, Wolf also lit into the news media. And you heard her say, "You guys are obsessed with Trump. Did you used to date him? Because you pretend like you don't like him, but I think you love him." I think what no one in this room wants to admit is that Trump has helped all of you. And refusing to attack print media because it's illegal to attack an endangered species. Wolf poked at Fox News for the network's ousting of hosts for sexual harassment allegations, CNN for breaking news, and MSNBC hosts Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski for showing what it's like when a Me Too works out. So she did her job. That's what she's to do. It's a roast. So she did her job, but she went after the media. She went after her employer. She's supposed to have a go at the politicians, not the media, not the White House correspondents. And she did. And that's what got her into trouble. And since then, they haven't got a comedian. That's how prickly and sensitive these people are about their access to power. Can you dig it? Do you know what I'm getting at? Do you see what I'm saying? So that's that. So that's the correspondence dinner. That took place like 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I haven't showed you the recent one took place a couple of weeks ago. And there were protesters outside. And here they are. A chance of shame on you, Greek guests, at White House Correspondents Dinner, shadowed by war in Gaza. You wouldn't fucking know it. So they went on. They went on in the Correspondents Dinner to demand journalists around the world be released from prison and call out authoritarian regimes for killing journalists, and never once mentioned that there's been 140 odd journalists killed in Gaza in 7 months. Never mentioned it. At the White House Correspondents Dinner, this is a backslapping access journalism and playing the fiddle while Rome burns, disgusting gala of access. That's what this is. But it also represents, as I've said in the title of this segment, the infantilization is complete. They think it is, because they don't even tell us. They stand there and demand for the release of a journalist in Russia. Meanwhile, the greatest journalist that ever lived, Julian Assange, is being tortured to death in a British dungeon, Belmarsh prison. And hopefully, thank God, there's a good chance he might get some good news next week. But we'll talk about that if it happens at the time. They don't mention the 140 plus journalists that have been killed in Gaza. They don't mention Gonzalo Lira, that was tortured to death by the Ukraine authorities, an American citizen. And whenever they report that this guy, whenever it was reported that an American journalist was killed in Ukraine, they don't mention that he's an American citizen until, like the third paragraph. They call him because he's dual passport holder. He's a Chilean journalist, but he was born and raised in California. His mother were Chilean, so that he has that. Do you know what I mean? So the hypocrisy is there. The prickliness that they won't get a comedian the caliber of Michelle Wolf to come into the room just in case they fucking say something that we don't like. And the reason that they don't like it is because it's pricking the bubble. The lies are being exposed. She knew She's an observer. Good comedians are. They can observe and they see things and they make connections that the rest of us maybe don't see. And she knew, she could see the ridiculousness of the media and in its portrayal and its reporting of the Trump administration. Now we take that forward to today. So this is the current, most recent Met Gala, which happened, as I said, 2 weeks ago. And, sorry, not Met Gala, Correspondents Dinner, White House Correspondents Dinner, where, oh, it didn't load it in, bollocks. Let me just see if I've got this. I thought I downloaded it, but I may not have. It's a little cut of Joe Biden. I didn't. Oh well. Not to worry, not the end of the world. Let me just see. No, I haven't. No, I haven't done it. I haven't downloaded it. It's okay. It's not important. So we go forward to the current White House Correspondents Dinner, and Joe Biden is there. Unlike, he was there last year too. But unlike this year, that Michelle Wolf that did her number on the White House Correspondents Association and the gathered press, and he gave a speech, and it was ridiculous. The man is clearly, I don't know what drugs they've got him on to get him through that, but they give him the good ones because he did a 10-minute speech, and he managed to get all the way through it and off the stage by himself without shitting himself or tripping over. And then they give awards to journalists. They give awards, and then they call for the liberation of journalists that are in jail. But they don't mention their own jailed journalists or that are being jailed by their allies, that are being murdered by their allies, or journalists that they're jailing by proxy, as a proxy in allied countries like the United Kingdom. And the hypocrisy is sickening. And they present this to us as though it's fact. And they do it in such a grand display of access, privilege, and wealth in a time when the working classes are getting their fucking asses kicked all over the world. And we know that these institutions are lying to us. They're not telling us the truth. We know this. Everybody knows this. So here, I'll read you that little bit from this article saying I can't find that video. So here it is. The war in Gaza spurred large protests outside a glitzy roast, that's one way of putting it, a glitzy roast, with President Joe Biden, journalists, politicians and celebrities on Sunday, but went all but unmentioned by participants inside. So these people saw the protests outside and they didn't mention it when they were giving their speeches and giving their big fancy talks. With Biden instead using the annual White House Correspondents' Dinner to make both jokes and grim warnings about Republican rival Donald Trump's fight to reclaim the US presidency, an evening normally devoted to presidents, journalists and comedians taking outrageous pokes at political scandals and each other, often seemed this year to illustrate the difficulty of putting aside the coming presidential election and the troubles in the Middle East and elsewhere. Biden opened the roast with a direct but joking focus on Trump, calling him Sleepy Don, in reference to the nickname Trump had given the president previously. Despite being a similar age, Biden said the two presidential hopefuls have little in common. My vice president actually endorses me, Biden said. Former Trump Vice President Mike Pence has refused to endorse Trump's reelection bid. So, there we go. I'm not going to read all of that. That's all in it. I'll be stopping it every fucking 2 seconds to have an argue with whoever wrote this. And nowhere in the article does it mention, just scanning it here, does it mention Julian Assange? Yeah. Nothing. Protest organizers said they aim to bring attention to the high numbers of Palestinian and other Arab journalists killed by Israel's military since the war began in October. It's not a war, by the way. It's a fucking massacre. More than 24 journalists in Gaza wrote a letter this week calling on their colleagues in Washington to boycott the dinner altogether. The toll exacted on us for merely fulfilling our journalistic duties is staggering, the letter stated. We are subjected to detentions, interrogations, and torture by the Israeli military, all for the crime of journalistic integrity, of which you will find none in that room. None. Anybody that has integrity, be invited. This is a massive circle jerk. That's what these things are. You're not invited. You're not going to get in. You don't get to poke the bear. That's what this is. And that's what Michelle Wolf did. So that's why the that's why she was never invited back, or any other comedians. Now, following on from that, we end up, sorry, just clearing my browser here. We end up with this bullshit. This is another event which happened the following weekend. So the White House Correspondents Dinner, I think, happened 2 weeks ago, or maybe 2 weeks ago, and then the following weekend, the Met Gala. So I think this kind of happened last Saturday night. Not Saturday, just Saturday before. And this is from Vogue Business. Why does the Met Gala theme make the internet crazy? So the Met Gala is a high-end fashion event. It's fashion's biggest night every year, and an online jury determines whether or not celebrities and designers have adhered to the dress code. So I'll just have a little quick, I'll read this to you real quick, and I'll show you a video. There's no other date in the fashion calendar that generates as much online chatter and armchair commentary as the Met Gala. The most hotly discussed topic. I'll just open this wee link here just to see. 23 by the number. No. The most hotly discussed topic, whether or not celebrities blessed with an invitation have dutifully followed the theme closely enough to the internet's liking. The most memorable Met Galas are the ones that produce the most viral and on-theme moments. Last year, Karl Lagerfeld's A Line of Beauty exhibit and dress code in honour of Karl gave us a Jared Leto dressed as Lagerfeld's famous cat. So, this is, you can see in the picture there's Rihanna, there's Lady Gaga. You can see it's real Hunger Games sort of levels of extravagance and silliness in high-end fashion. By the way, I am not poo-pooing fashion as an art form or fashion shows and this sort of thing. They are very exuberant and extravagant and elaborate and all that sort of stuff. But you have to take everything in the context of the time that it is presented. You can't put a thing into the world and not consider the time that it is being put into the world in. And although at first glance it may not seem that anyone has done anything wrong or anything insensitive or anything, although I will show you a video of someone doing something very insensitive, anything insensitive. They may have not done anything no individual or these fashion houses. It's what they do. They do this. They get. I saw a video of a couple of people actually this year. Their dresses were so elaborate and extravagant. They literally had to be carried up the steps and then one of the ladies in this huge dress, this train of this dress was so enormous. It had 8 people to carry it up the steps. So it is very end of days Hunger Gamesy sort of presentation. And the reason that it is because of the time that it is presented in. And it seems to me that the more the more precarious the global political situation is, the more that we understand that we're living in these dangerous times, and we are living in dangerous times, it seems to me that the more elaborate, the bigger the spectacle these things become. Okay? Because they're presented as a distraction. And then you have to say, well, do they do it on purpose? Is it just accidental? Do these things just coincide with each other? That you have this horrible geopolitical situation going on in Ukraine, going on in Israel, and wars being stoked all over the world all at the same time. Then these things come along and they become so cartoonishly, garishly vulgar and big to serve as a distraction. As again, this is where I'm coming through with this piece. The infantilization is complete. So I'll show you a video real quick, and I'll read you what the Met Gala. There's just come up there in the article what the Met Gala is. So here is a video called Met Gala Shitheads. That's my title. So there's J-Lo with her big famous ass. I must say, not looking overly silly. Zendaya, she's an actress. She was in June, and she's looking a bit daft, if you ask me. Sarah Jessica Parker. Bad Bunny. Don't know who that is, but I must say, it looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. Chris Hemsworth, I'm assuming that's his partner, his wife, and they both look great. They don't look silly. Gwendolyn Christie, she was in Game of Thrones. She looks daft with a big hat on her. Ayo Edebiri, she looks great. That looks fantastic. It's a beautiful dress. So the theme for this one was flowers. So there's Gigi Hadid. She's like a runway model, isn't she? And the dress is a bit massive, but Greta Lee, I don't know who that is. That dress is nuts. That's fucking daft. I'll catch yourself on, missus. Taylor Russell, don't know who that is. She looks great. I mean, when I say great, I'm not giving these people fashion advice. Look at me, I'm wearing a fucking black t-shirt and a Boston Celtics cap. Rebecca Ferguson, the actress, I think she is, yeah. And it's a bit over the top, but it's not bad. Coleman Domingo, he looks rather dapper. He's looking dapper. I love the hat with the flower. Mike Fast-Faced, I don't know who that is. He's looking good, wearing a tuxedo, nice big flower. Looking smart, well done. Demi Moore definitely has not had any plastic surgery done. Yeah. Emma Chamberlain, who looks kind of good and all. Yeah, that's not bad. Cole Escola, no fucking idea what that's supposed to be. That's just Leonardo Del Vecchio and Jessica Surfety Michael. Don't know who these people are. I can't get their names right. Brilliant. Who's that? Mandy Kaling. It's all a bit much. Yeah. Destroyer of fucking franchises. So that's the kind of thing. Now, that wasn't by no means. Those things were. Some of the dresses were a bit over the top. Whatever. I'm not an expert in such things. But and fair play to them. But take the context of the times. You have to. And I'm not saying that you go to a fashion show or you go to a gig. I don't want to go to every gig and have. I'll give you an example. I will give you a fucking literal example. My friend Sean Fitzpatrick, my comrade from People Before Profit, he was at the gig on Saturday and he offered me a flag of Sweden. He was at a protest in the day and he still had a flag of Sweden with the bloodstains on it representing the Eurovision Song Contest. I'm going to show you that. And he said, do you want that for the stage? And I said, no, I don't. It's a Bonneville's gig. We're not going to do that. Although we are selling gig for Gaza chocolate on the Bonneville's website and stuff. But people just come in you're entitled to just go out and have some fun and not have to. And you know, me and Chris are full pro Palestine, but so I understand that not every gig, not every public moment has to be used to light up or put a spotlight on this situation. It doesn't have to be. And this doesn't have to be either. But in the context of our times, and you take it, it's, again, the Met Gala doesn't exist on its own. You've got the Correspondents' Dinner the week before. You've got the Oscars then coming up. You've got all these huge, extravagant expressions of society and empire. That's what these things are. So I'll read this little bit about this Met Gala. Not to do that one. So the Met Gala, give you a quick Met Gala 101, a quick history lesson. The Met Gala began in 1948 with publicist Eleanor Lambert, who also founded the Council of Fashion Designers of America in 1962. Took it upon herself to throw a benefit for the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute in the form of a private dinner somewhere in the city, not at the museum itself. Then came former Vogue editor Diane Vreeland, who took over in 1971, revamping the Met Gala and turning it into a glitzy and glamorous affair. She began hosting it at the museum, introduced themes, and invited celebrities from Cher to Elizabeth Taylor and Elton John. The Met Gala, as we know, it started in 1995. What? Just said here, the Met Gala began in 1948. The Met Gala, as we know it, sorry, missed the it, apologies. The Met Gala, as we know it, started in 1995 when Anna Wintour, editor-in-chief of Vogue and creative editorial director of Condé Nast, took charge. Thematic, glitzy, monumental, and the first Monday in May of every year. And even if the dress codes introduced at the Met Gala many years ago, it wasn't until recently when guests became invested in following along. At that event, people were kind of trickling in with little okay, right, bollocks to that. Right, so there you go. You know what the Met Gala is. So that's the context that I'm presenting this to you in. It's not about the Met Gala, and it's not about the Correspondents' Dinner. And it's not about Mamala Harris. And it's not about, as I'm about to show you here, Eurovision. Here's a video, a little highlight of Eurovision. Little highlight video.
226 points! The winner, the champion of the Eurovision Song Contest 2024.
I hope this contest can live up to its promise and continue to stand for peace and dignity for every person in this world.
So, what he just Actually, I think I just misgendered that dude. So, first non-binary person to win the Eurovision. That means, again, forgive me, I'm not up on all of this. They don't identify as male or female. Am I right? That's what that is, right? Okay. So they were the first person to win, the first non-binary person to win. Congratulations to them. I guess it's a they. You say they, don't you? You don't. Yeah, I think I got that right. If I've got it wrong, I apologize. So what they said, I hope it continues to stand up for reason dignity for everybody. That said something. They said something, so it's something, but it's clearly bollocks. It's all bollocks. And the winners of, you can see here, the winner, I got it on the screen there, Nemo, that was there, that won there. You saw it on the screen. I won't fucking play any more of that music in case the video gets taken down. Croatia was a runner-up. And Ukraine came third. France came fourth. And Israel came fifth. And Bambi Thug from Ireland came sixth, which is kind of good for Ireland. But she shouldn't have been there. I think that's a group. They shouldn't have been there. There was a massive campaign in Ireland to try and get them to boycott, but nobody boycotted it. All these artists went to it. Let me just put this video up. I'll turn the music down. There was a massive campaign here in Ireland to try and get Bambi Thug to not go. I signed it myself, and we did a few photographs and stuff, and they went anyway. And then make out when they're there that they're being silenced and that they're these great political, agitators and whatever. The bollocks, they're not. And the thing of it is, I don't know how Bambi Thug's career is going to go in Ireland going forward. I mean, it is, at the end of the day, it is only Eurovision. Most people fucking disappear into obscurity anyway. So I think you'd have got more mileage if you'd have boycotted it. There's been a good chance. Because wherever Bambi Thug turns up in Ireland now, people are going to be telling them to go fuck. Because they went to Eurovision. And even I was talking to some people who know more about this than me. She was writing on her arms, stuff about Palestine and all that at press conferences while she was in Sweden. And it wasn't going down. People weren't falling for it. They go, bollocks, you shouldn't have went. So there's the video on the screen. You can see the Eurovision entrance. I love Eurovision. Not because I like the music. I don't. That's not my bag at all. But because it's so fucking garishly stupid. And some of the songs are fucking properly hilarious. So we wouldn't have done it this year because we were gigging ourselves, whatever. But if we're about, we would kind of tend to have we used to have it with the kids. We would have Eurovision parties with the kids, and we'd get the girls in, and we would, everyone would mark down their favourite songs, and we'd have a wee competition among ourselves. It was always great crack, but it was always just fucking hilarious to me. But Israel being in it, whilst Russia is not. Israel isn't even in Europe, but Russia is. Russia is technically a European country. It's Europe. Australia is in it. Now, Australia hasn't invaded anybody recently, as far as I'm aware. But Israel has. You know what I mean? The reasons for Russia being expelled from Eurovision, if they're true and apply to Russia, they're also true and should be applied to Israel. And despite the fact there was a massive online campaign of online voting by Zionists to help their candidate, their performer win, the Eurovision. It didn't work, and I'm glad they can get fucked as well. So so that's me. That's this bit done. The whole, as I call this, the infantilization is complete. These things to me represent the infantilization of us all, of our institutions, of our media, of our political class. It's all got so stupid. Black is white, white is black, up is down, left is right. We're supposed to watch this and pretend that we don't know what Israel is doing. Oh, by the way, thousands of people were protesting outside the stadium in Gothenburg, outside the venue in Sweden. Thousands of people. Not a word of it. Not a word of it on the media. So, there we go. Oh yeah, I want to show you this as well. Let me see what I've done here. This is the final insult, actually, this one. So, this, what you're looking at on the screen. Now, I'm going to close that down just for a second. If you're watching this, viewer advisory, viewer discretion. There's some images. I don't do this on my podcasts or on my social media feeds. I don't show the images coming out of Gaza because I can't bear to see them myself. So I don't look at them, and I don't like it when it's sprung upon me, though I do understand and appreciate how powerful and how important it is that we don't turn away whenever we see these things. But there's been that much of it. I think we're all going to end up with some sort of fucking PTSD if we look at it all. But this image that you're about to see, or this video, there's it on the screen now. This video is a headline from NBC News. Sorry, I'll turn that video down. This is from the NBC News website. Israel seizes Rafah crossing and the best Met Gala looks morning rundown. That's the headline. And the screen is split in two. One side is the beautiful people going up to the cameras at the Met Gala, looking ridiculous by the contrast of what's on the other side of the screen, which is crying. I'm going to turn that down because it's very distressing. That poor wee girl, I can't even bear. I can't bear to look at it. These poor children going through what we all know they're going through in Gaza at the minute. So these two things contrasted side by side. And that's what I said. That's what I mean when I said before about everything is in its time and in and of its place, and you can't not be. You're going to get the stink of this on you. You are. Everybody is, and we know that the situation that the world is in. We know the situation that the working classes across the world, across the West especially, or across the West, are going through. And then this Hunger Games-esque, garish, we'll turn that off, event takes place. And we're supposed to pretend as though it's all fine. It's not all fine. And these things are the institutions of the state. Maybe not designed or owned by the state, but they're of the state. They're the outward expressions of the wealthy that live above us in Cloud City. This is what they do. And again, I'm not having a go at I'm not having to go with anyone that attended these things. There's a big campaign online to get them, everybody, unfollowed from their social media. I'll show you it here. And I get it. I really do. This is a video. So there's the video there. You can see. Remember, I was showing you. I can show you this on. If you're listening to this, you'll not see this, but if you watch it, you will, obviously. There's the woman getting lifted up the steps with a big dress on. Look. And then, same planet, different worlds. There's the 8 dress train bearers that this big black dress has to have to exist in the world. And then it's contrasted, obviously, by these poor people here having to endure what is hell. And I hate to break it to you. You may be sympathetic. This celebrity who's a Zendaya may be sympathetic. So they may understand. But this is the rest of us are looking at you and going, get fucked. No, not having it. The American police are out beating their own fucking kids to death. Or, well, they soon will be, because someone's going to die soon at these protests. There's them getting arrested in New York. Here's another one. You'll see this one. Now, I don't know who this person is, but there was an influencer, which I didn't know we still had those. I'm trying to find. There's another wee. No. There's an influencer called. I wonder, actually. Oh, here, yeah. During the Met Gala, Hailey Bailey, who has 10 million followers on TikTok for reasons I neither know nor particularly wish to know, made a little video, and in it she was wearing a dress doing a very clearly inspired by Marie Antoinette, and the words "let them eat cake" can be heard. Now, talk about someone that has really put their foot in it and doesn't the pulse of the feeling of people out in the real world. And this is what she does. Can be heard as the camera slowly zooms out. It was nothing complicated, just a straightforward callback to the infamous phrase as she stood outside the event, embodying the lifestyle of the rich and famous. Tickets to the gala are $75,000, and this year it happened to take place at the exact moment that Israel invaded Rafah. Now, something fascinating and potentially incredible is happening over on TikTok. And remember when we were talking about this in the last couple of podcasts, right? It's spilling out into other corners of the internet. Millions of people, and I should have read this bloody article because this is a good one. Millions of people, and I say that with no exaggeration, are blocking the accounts of big celebrities, particularly those who haven't spoken up about Palestine, which is the majority of these public figures. Thousands and thousands of short videos are being made every day about who to block. So there we go. And the people are celebrating seeing celebrities losing hundreds of thousands or even millions of followers, and the block list is growing daily, with people adding more influencers who have chosen to remain silent about the genocide in Gaza. The list has also grown to include the multitude of brands that celebrities own, from makeup to clothing to alcohol. Most important, the number of TikToks being created to discuss why folks ought to cut off celebrities who refuse to use their large platforms to advocate for good. Now, you got to remember, there are a lot of celebrities out there who don't get involved. They don't get involved. They don't comment on anything political. And I get that from their perspective, I understand that. I'm not forgiving it. I'm not saying I'm not forgiving them for that, but I understand it from their perspective. But there's also a lot of celebrities that won't shut the fuck up about every political thing that is going on, from Black Lives Matter to LGBTQ rights to the Me Too movement to and I think all of these things are all sus. Not that there's not important good things in there, but I think these movements get hijacked. The Me Too movement was to bring awareness to women being sexually assaulted and raped. Black Lives Matter, obviously, there's an inherent racism problem in our society, especially in America, where the institutions are geared to read you the numbers about black men in jail and how many of them end up in jail and for the reasons why. And to the LGBTQ plus movement, all these are obviously for LGBTQ, gay and trans and non-binary rights, and these things are all important and all things that I support fully. But these movements get hijacked and they become a part of what's called the culture wars. And then they become sus. And then what happens is the intentions, which were pure behind the initial movement, the initial expression of it, become diluted. The goodness, the potential to do good becomes diluted, to do real good. Because whenever you get then corporations and celebrities jumping on these things, hijacking them almost, it all gets a bit, go fuck yourself. So then whenever all these celebrities are silent, who do generally tend to jump on board fucking anything that's going, sticking little flags in their emojis in their bios, but they're silent about this. And they are, there's a lot of them. So fuck those fucks. So she goes on in the article. I wonder, am I going to read all of this? Because it's not too bad. We'll see how far we get into this. I'll open the screen up. Sorry, just so you can read it all. There we go. I find the explanatory videos to be the most powerful part of this. I haven't seen these. I'm going to go check these out. Thus far, more powerful than the mass disengagement with celebrity social media accounts. The viral block party. There you go. There's a new thing to me. I didn't know that either. Feel of people sharing the lists of celebrities they'll no longer engage with and no longer permit to profit off their attention is the engine driving this little digital revolution. And by the way, therein is one of the reasons why they want rid of TikTok. And no longer permit to profit off their attention. But the why is where the real transformative power is to me. There are multiple reasons to block influencers and celebs. As countless people are explaining, the biggest reason is that we've seen more clearly than ever in recent months how these people drive culture and what culture they drive us towards. Specifically, they push us in the direction of vulgar consumerism, always encouraging their followers to spend more, buy more, get more tickets, get a new outfit and buy the latest product. By the way, we have a gig here at the house on Saturday night. Mandy Bingham and Graham Bingham. Tickets available on the Bonneville's website, bonneville's.co.uk, and so forth. TikTok has made this especially obvious as it pushes the TikTok shop more and more, with an increasing number of videos having links at the bottom of the page, encouraging visitors or viewers to click and immediately purchase whatever item they're seeing in a video. Naturally, this has encouraged influencers to hawk products in more of their videos, for which they make a commission off each purchase. And all of this is harmful in and of itself, but what has been made doubly clear since October is that it's all done instead of using their platforms to advocate for good. The consumerism is bad enough, but seeing how it simultaneously functions as a distraction, in this case from a genocide, but more broadly from society's ills, has made people furious. The juxtaposition of the Met Gala and the bombing of Rafah ripped this aggressive contradiction wide open. So that's actually completely forgot to mention that at the beginning. The Met Gala was taking place at the same time they started bombing 1.5 million refugees living in tents in Rafah, which is could be best described as a village. It was a village. It's the world's biggest refugee camp right now. So onwards, and all of the above is still just the tip of the iceberg. The various ways celebrities monetize our attention is only one piece of the role they play in shaping society and culture. Most notable, perhaps, and an issue that multiple TikTok commentators are honing in on, is that influencers help set our goals, help establish what is desirable, especially for younger people. What was once keeping up with the Joneses is now keeping up with the Kardashians. Where people once wanted a white picket fence and a golden retriever, we've now become conditioned to pursue a yacht, 2 mansions, and more money than God. Of course, not everyone has sought this lottery ticket-style dream, where no matter how hard we work, only a few people will ever actually have access to the opulence that celebrities and the reality TV and social media profiles have conditioned a generation to expect. But a lot of those who have opted out of this new American dream were people who tuned out of celebrity culture to begin with. That would be me. People who grew up in a culture of celebrity and are now confronted with this immense harm are suddenly seeing how they've both seen, misled and distracted, taught a culture of consumerism and distracted from what really matters in life. So there we go. I'm not going to read any more of that article, although it is very good. So there we go. I'm going to draw a line under that bit because there's a lot in there. But you get what I'm saying? So, and I want to finish on this with that. I want to finish that piece. I'll go one more thing and then we're done. If you think that the moment that was chosen to bomb Rafah wasn't that moment when the Met Gala was on, if you think that wasn't chosen deliberately, then bless your innocent little heart. I wish I was like you. I do. I wish I wasn't as cynical as I am. But I've got news for you. I hate to break it to you. That moment was chosen deliberately. The Met Gala was used as a distraction. Didn't work, but it was done nonetheless. Well, think about that. That's the world that we're in. So there we go. That's that article done. That's that piece done. The infantilization is complete. I'm going to finish with this little piece that I wrote for you. I'm going to do that now. So, actually, I'll put it on here. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm just moving some stuff about. So I told you I've got a new segment. I've got a new segment for you, and it's called Get Fucked. And I'm going to do it regularly. It's going to be a little love letter to people, things, events, whatever, that need to go get fucked. So give me a moment here. I'm going to put the music on. There's the music. For the segment that will be known henceforth, let's get fucked. Well, let's get to it. Apple, the huge corporation, they employ some of the smartest people on earth, and through their genius have turned themselves into one of the most monolithic American monsters and one of the richest entities that have ever existed. But with all this genius and extreme wealth, they can still manage to put out into the marketplace something so fucking stupid that if an 8-year-old designed it, you would put them into a cannon and blast them into space. I am, of course, talking about the Apple Mouse, a product that works so beautifully. It looks so sleek. It looks like some architectural model of a futuristic vanity project, vanity theatre design, and that is until literally its battery runs out and you have to charge it. See how pretty it is? At which point you have to stop your work, turn the thing onto its back, like so, and plug the cable in. And as it lies there, hopefully being charged, and I say hopefully, because the only way of knowing, there is no way of knowing, as it's devoid of any method of letting you know that it's actually charging. There are no lights come on, anything like that. Then you have to go into your house and to get your laptop to continue typing out this script. After 30 minutes, you return to find the upturned turtle, only to find that the charger wasn't fucking plugged in correctly, and you've wasted an hour of your day. Apple, get fucked. So, that's Apple dealt with. And I should say, the main thing about it, while it's charging, you can't fucking use it. That's the thing. People who put dog shit into bags and then leave them hanging on trees like some sort of rancid Satan fruit. I'm often left wondering what these fuckers actually think this plastic bag of semi-digested dog biscuits and diarrhea, what they think this little gift of the world will blossom into. Will some sort of mad Japanese man-eating bee come along and pollinate the cunting thing? Out for a lovely walk in our local beauty spot only to have your eyeballs assaulted like this is practically a war crime. People who leave bags of shit on tree branches, get fucked. Of course, the last one is, of course, and obviously always was, going to go to Israel. Israel, you managed to turn the world against you so completely you couldn't even win Eurovision. The biggest, gayest, shit-libbest waste of money in the world, but hilarious vanity project known to man. Even Ukraine could win it. All they had to do was to get their cokehead leader to taunt Russia into invading them. You suck. You managed to take the word anti-Semite, a word so horrible, and hollow it out so completely as to make it fucking meaningless, to the point that if you haven't been accused of it 3 times before lunch, you feel kind of dirty. Despite the fact that you have the weight of the world's biggest military behind you, the half-wit known as America, you still have been unable to slaughter your way through Palestine, and whilst the Palestinian people show the world how to remain dignified, even as they're being literally massacred, you've exposed yourselves as the white supremacist Zionist Nazi bitches you've always been. The spell you managed to cast on the world for 75 years works no more, and as the scales fall from people's eyes, we see you for what you are, a big bunch of fucking crybabies. You should crawl back into the sewer from whence you were spewed and get fucked. So that's that. You like that segment? It's called Get Fucked. Did I mention it? Did I mention that segment's called Get Fucked? Because it is. So there we go. That's us done. We're going to... I'll upload these today. And then hopefully I'll have something else for you on Wednesday. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for sharing. Thanks to my subscribers and my Patreons especially. As I said, head over to Patreon, £1 a month, one tier. That's all it is. And if you don't want to do that, I understand why. Everyone's asking you to do that. You can head over to Buy Me a Coffee, search for Politics, Culture and some other shit, or the links will be under the show notes. And you can just throw a couple of bucks into the bucket, a one-time thing. Also follow the podcast over on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm definitely not forgetting something. Oh yeah, we have a gig on Saturday night. Mandy Bingham is playing at the house here on Saturday night. Chuck Cole. It's a great thing. We open the doors of the house 7 o'clock. We empty out the living room. We turn it into a little gig venue, and we built a stage. We do the whole thing, and you come at 7 o'clock. We play a gig. I'll open for Mandy and Graham, and then you guys get to have a great, lovely, beautiful, intimate experience. It's so wonderful the way these have worked out, and we're delighted that we get to do them. Then we're usually done by 10 o'clock. And we go around to the Woodville and we get a lock of pints and have a bit of crack for the rest of the night. So please, if you want to, go to the Bonneville's.co.uk and you can get a ticket for that. So that's it. I think that's everything. Pretty sure that's everything. I fucking know I forgot something. Don't forget, gift for Gaza chocolate. You can get that on the Bonneville's website from now. I will be uploading that very soon. And the ingredients are all on the back, the allergies. By the way, if you're gluten intolerant, you can eat this. It's all good. There's soya and milk in it, but there's no gluten. So that's good, isn't it? Yeah. So that's it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. Please like, share, subscribe. Share among your friends and your co-workers and your mates and your buddies and your socials and all that shit. And... talk to you soon. Bye.